Now, right? All right. Good evening. The old clock on the wall there says 6 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm calling to order the regular Huntley District 158 Board of Education meeting for Thursday, August 20th, 2026, again at 6 p.m. Have roll call, please.
Mr. Craddy?
Here.
Mr. Ruth?
Here.
Mr. Troy?
Here.
Mr. Feckety?
Here.
Mrs. Murray? Mr. Bobby?
Here.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Right, we have a quorum of 5 people here of the 7. Item 2, closed session. Move that the board enter executive closed session at 6:01 p.m. pursuant to the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/2C for the purpose of discussing the following items. Section item number 1, the appointment, employment, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees or legal counsel. Exception 2, collective negotiating matters. Exception 6, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including discussion about whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Exception item 11, the placement of individual students in special education programs and other matters related to individual students. Exception item 12, litigation. Exception item 15, review and discussion of minutes from meetings lawfully closed under this act.
Second.
Second for Mr. Feckety. For roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. We are in closed session. We'll be back approximately 7 p.m. All right, good evening. Thank you for being patient with us as we exited closed session later than expected. Item 3 is to resume public session. We do not have any action items coming out of closed session. If I could have roll call, please. Time is 7:16 p.m. Thank you.
Mr. Troy?
Here.
Mr. Peckity?
Here.
Mrs. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Bobby?
Here.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Here.
Mr. Craddy?
Here.
Mr. Ruth?
Here.
All right, we have 7 board members present. Obviously, we have quorum. Again, there's no action item out of closed session. That takes care of item 3.1. Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance. We have our team.
No.
They're not.
No, but maybe
Can we
Would you guys be
impose
willing
upon
to?
you to help us?
students.
CPR ready team?
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on. There's like, sure.
Thank you for pinch hitting.
Come on up. Right up to the.
Whenever you're ready. There we go.
Lead us.
Whenever you're ready.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, good. Oh, feel good? Your foot fell asleep, you all right?
We had a plan. My horse did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A little early.
And with,
Her and I talked about it earlier. It's all part of the plan.
what a great segue for item number 5, public comment. I have one sheet from Renee St. Clair. Come on down.
All right, good evening, board, administration, community members, everybody watching at home. I apologize for the first day of school voice, not quite as normal as it normally is, but, you know, first couple of days, I always lose it. I'm here tonight to present to you the CPR Ready generation. So, running the medical academy, I have taught hundreds of adults and students CPR and how to use an AED. And I do the best of my ability when they're in my class to make sure that they're confident, that when they leave my room, that they are confident in the skills that I have taught them. But when an emergency happens, are they really ready? When an emergency happens, even if you're trained, there's this moment of hesitation where things that you thought you knew what to do, you stop and you hesitate, you pause. The CPR Ready generation is a movement to address that moment, to address that hesitation. They need to be ready.
Is that my
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
You good?
You're-
Hey, we're good. All right.
Wow.
The CPR generation is different than most things we see in school. It's not a class or just CPR training. It's not a club with an activity fee or something that you're choosing to join and spending, 2 hours a day after school at. It's not that. It's a student-led movement that's creating this culture of readiness within the student body. We work through conversations and influence and leadership, and we're posting on social media and creating conversations and just bringing in friends. It's not another thing that teachers are telling you to do. It's not another homework assignment. It is just creating readiness and eliminating the hesitation factor when someone drops. If someone has a cardiac emergency event, they're not going to die because people are stepping up. Right now, nobody is stepping up, and we are seeking to.
Now we're going to talk about how it grows. How can we get this movement going? How can we get people to step up? First things are small actions, things like social media posts or flyers that we would hand out. And this also creates a sense of visibility so that everyone can also join in on this movement. Because again, it is not a club. It's something that you kind of build off of people and you just share about it. That's why we also have to start conversations. It can be like, for instance, personal experiences. You can talk to people either in the medical field or who've had personal experience with having to give CPR on someone, and just any kind of personal experiences, and all of this kind of creates a sense of culture as well once everyone starts getting out.
So we really want this movement to succeed, and ways that we would see the success is it growing into the community, it growing in school, not just becoming it 1 year movement. We want this to become generational. We want new students to come in and take this and lead it. Another thing that we were talking about was bringing it to athletics, to sports, to other schools, growing it in the community, growing it not just in Huntley and Lake in the Hills, but to Crystal Lake or McHenry, just growing the movement to really make sure that students near us, not just in our community, but near everywhere, know what to do when something happens.
Hi, my name is Shelley Amato, and I'm the Executive Vice President at World Point. We are located in Crystal Lake. So first of all, thank you, Ms. Sinclair, and Carmen, and Liz, and Hannah. They really just explained, without me needing to, exactly what the CPR Ready generation is, and it's better than I could have, and that's kind of the point. There's a lot of awareness around CPR and AEDs today, and we teach a lot of people CPR. But being aware or trained and being ready to step forward when it actually matters isn't always the same thing. We believe that students have the ability to change that. So by making readiness something that they own and reinforce with each other and the community around them. So, Huntley High School, these are our student leaders and the school administrator who are really passionate about this. Huntley High School believed in that idea early and started, as you've heard, making it their own right away. You could say that they really understood the assignment. So tonight we are proud to recognize Huntley High School as a founding school of the CPR Ready generation, and I would like to present two things, starting with our official founding school, number 2 in the country. And with the support of DeFib Tech, present the school with this AED. Live AED for Huntley High School.
Wow, nice.
And I'm sorry, can I say that we were technically number 1, but just because our school started a little bit later, somebody got the jump on their launch for this year? But I mean, seriously, were we not really number 1?
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you about this woman right here, if you don't already know.
You don't have to.
Seriously, you already know her. However, let me just say, there was a student that kind of sparked this whole idea. You can read about it on our website at Naperville Central back in the spring. And this was an idea that we've been playing around with for a long time because our company has been in and around serving the healthcare training and CPR industry for 30-plus years. And every year, when I go to conferences, we hear, right, industry professionals who've been at this a long time scratching their heads going, if our CPR and AED training is still up here, right, it's accessible, everybody's doing it, why are our bystander CPR rates still here? And incrementally move by small percentages every year. And we're over here saying it's young people. Right? They have to care about this in the way that young people care about things. Social media, right? Talking to each other, not being lectured at. Renee, Ms. Sinclair here, she got it. And she was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And she was able to articulate an idea that we had, and that's how we knew it was a thing. So she's absolutely right. Huntley came on board from the beginning as an idea. They just happened to start after St. Patrick High School in Chicago a week later. So, yes, Huntley's number one. Thank you, Huntley, for being the school and the community to embrace this and bring this to life. So we're really excited about what's going to happen tomorrow night.
So normally we don't interact in public comment, but this is one of those rare occasions for me. This hits home. Ms. Sinclair and I had a conversation on Monday. It wasn't specifically about CPR, but there's somebody that I know who was choking on a chicken bone, and somebody in the house lost the presence of mind to just dial 911. And the other student in the house had medical background, be able to have the presence of mind to not only ask questions, but also be able to dial 911 and talk to first responders who came for the adult in the house who could not speak. So what you're doing from a CPR standpoint speaks volumes, and I applaud the program. I applaud the students, Ms. Sinclair, for leading the charge. All of you, thank you for doing this. Thank you for making Huntley High School one of the capstone schools and leading the charge here. So thank you, and glad that you're doing this.
May I add my congratulations as well, and my heartfelt support. I sat on the Northwestern Hospital Board and see firsthand how important this is. I'm involved a little bit with the fire district, and we talk about response times and how it's so important to try and get there in the first 6 minutes, because past that, just as you know better than I, when the damage can really happen. So I support everything you do, and thanks and congratulations.
Do you mind if we get a picture? Yeah.
Could you get a quick picture?
Yes, please.
Up in front of the board.
Yeah, come on in.
Wait, let me lay across in front of.
That's a good idea.
Oh, right. Black in the middle and white on the end. We have to be color coordinated.
All right, is this an Android? Phone, do I have?
No, that's a.
Let's do it.
Video, video instead of camera.
All the inputs.
Come on, it's technology.
Right, light bulb up here. One more for me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank Our official launch will be tomorrow night. Our official launch will be tomorrow night at the football game. We get 2 minutes at halftime of the varsity football game, so feel free to come out and see us. And, yep, we have some prizes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up on the podium.
Where's that? Oh, those are mine. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
They're not really my style.
I'll dispute that. All right, with that, thank you again for coming in this evening and speaking. Item 6, revision adoption of our agenda. Is there anything on here to move around or adjust? All right. I'm going to just double check. Dr. Boyu, anything for innovation and learning this evening? Item 9.
I have an update.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
well, then I'll leave it in place.
Okay.
Special services, Dr. Gill? You do? Okay. And HR, Dr. Zier, you've got something as well?
Quick update.
Okay. And as far as I know, you've got stuff. Okay, thank you very much. With that, unless there's somebody else, will make the motion. I move to accept the agenda as presented with no changes.
Second.
Second from Mr. Root. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Superintendent's report, Ms. Lombard.
Sure, I'll go ahead and start with the donations. We have 3 donations this evening. The Huntley Gridiron, $5,000 for football around spur camp. Christ United Methodist Church, donation of student backpacks and supplies, as well as donation of student backpacks and school supplies from TEQ Open Packaging. So I know we've got quite a few things that have been out to our buildings for those supplies and backpacks, and then do have some, if we have new students in need, we'll be able to get that out there as well. And so to all 3 of these organizations, we are extremely appreciative of the support of our students and helping us kick off the beginning of the school year. So turning it over to the beginning of the school year, I didn't have a report because the beginning of the school year just happened written, so I'm just going to give it verbal this evening. But last week we had a lot of things going on inside of all of our buildings, whether it was 6th grade jumpstart, 2 walkthroughs at our middle schools, material pickup at our high school, and lots of students walking through our freshman Raider rally on Friday during the day, led by our link crew. And then again, kicking off the beginning of our, well, then we had new staff for 2 days, and that was really, really exciting. And Monday then started all of our staff. And so, again, for the second year, we brought all of our staff together in the East Gymnasium. Color-coded, they all thought that that was because it was easy to find their seats. However, there was a method behind that madness there. We kicked off a theme around creating our masterpiece, and all of those things, kind of an art theme that all of these small things that we do create this masterpiece throughout the year for all of our students and our staff. And we're starting kind of with our blank canvas. We had the marching band and the color guard performing as our staff came in. We had our 2 student board members give a welcome. I know they were a little bit nervous, and they knocked it out of the park. They were fantastic. Mr. Troy gave a brief welcome as well, and then we had my opening day message, and just felt it was really a great opportunity to bring the entire family, if you will, together, because they don't see each other very often. If you are working at the ECC, you very rarely see the staff at the high school and whatnot. Dr. Zaire did start off with, after the band and the color guard, the music, we then kicked it over to him to just get people excited and small questions about, stand up if you had a baby or a grandbaby this summer, and who got married this summer, all the things, who's new to the district, and ended that with utilizing our 2 new scoreboards that are up in the East Gym, and put the oldest photo we could find of each one of our 10 retirees, and to see if people could guess who that was, called them all down. They gave their staff here in the district and which buildings they had worked in, and the impact that they had had on the district. And then we ended it with asking all of our alumni, including Mr. Ruth, to come on down as the band played the first rendition, or first kind of go through of the fight song, so they could lead the entire gymnasium in the fight song. And then everybody went off their separate ways for the next day and into Tuesday, and I will not take that from Dr. Hoyer. She can talk about the rest of Institute, but really did feel that even in a half an hour, that excitement and that energy really was the right way to start off the school year. And I know a few of you were able to be there, so maybe you have some comments or thoughts, ways that we could continue to enhance that year after year. And that same energy and excitement was seen in every one of our buildings yesterday, carried into today with our kindergartners, and tomorrow we're excited to welcome our early childhood. So it's been a great week. It has been a long week, even though it's been a couple of days. But we were really, really excited to have the buildings full again, and you can just feel that. So that was my message.
I had a chance to sit in on that, and I can't congratulate you enough for the whole Raider team, if you will. It was outstanding. You just feel the energy in the room. It's great, great program.
Yeah, I agree. It was neat to see, that gym just full of everyone that works here, and the excitement, and, it was nice to greet them as they came in, and, I thought you both did an exceptional job up there. I did not know you were nervous, but I would have been nervous too. But very well done, and I think it was a great way to kick off the year. I will say that it was, pretty exciting to see how many new staff we have here, which, I thought was very welcoming for them as well.
Yeah, you mentioned I had a comment or two, and it's my pleasure to welcome the staff, both returnees and new staff, to help open the door, that first day in the gym, as a team. And that was the message that I tried to convey, is welcome them. My pleasure and honor to do that. And also, I was at 3 schools yesterday, welcoming students and adults, parents who brought their kids to the schools, and a little bit about it. Watching the faces of parents and kids being proud of, hey, we got to go to Tennessee, hey, we went to baseball game. Just the different activities that they did. They love to talk about themselves, and it's always neat to get that feedback from parents and kids. Welcome back, one and all. Right, donations you mentioned, item 8, student board representative, Rossner and Courtney.
Hello, everyone. So it's been a busy back-to-school week. It's a little bit bittersweet for me as a senior, but I just want to start off and thank Ms. Lombard for the amazing opportunity to speak at the staff kickoff. I definitely was very nervous, but I think it was just a great opportunity for me and Olaf to be able to speak about what we care about and welcome back to staff. Just a small report today. After the staff kickoff, we stopped by a couple of the schools, open houses, to talk to some of the students. I was able to stop by Heinemann, and I talked to just a few students. I didn't know it was just parents, but there were a few students that I found, and they said that the open house helped them, like with the nervousness before school. They like meeting their teachers, and they said they're really excited for sports and field trips this year. So that's what I heard from some of the 8th graders at Heinemann.
Yes, again, I'd like to thank Mrs. Lombard and all the board for the opportunity to speak at the staff orientation. So as you all know, the 17th was our big back-to-school night, but a couple of days earlier, we actually did have the HHS Freshman Raider Rally, and I had the opportunity to go to there and to speak to some of the teachers and to some of the link crew groups there. And Mr. Aney, actually, the leader of Raider Rally, said that the freshman participation was 71%, which is much higher than the average of 50 to 60% that we've had in the years past. Link crew leaders, very happy, freshmen as well, all happy to be back. Freshmen coming into a new school, it's a big transition, but I think having the Raider Rally really helped them settle into what they're going to be facing for the next school year. As well, link crew leaders were happy with the changes made to their groups in Raider Rally, transferring over to advisory. And I also had the opportunity to go to the open house, to some of the open houses. I was able to visit Martin and Conley as well as Marlowe. Both students at the schools, Martin and Conley, were very excited. You know, it's a younger group, so they're all really, you know, up and at 'em, get ready to go to school. Whereas Marlowe, you know, kids are kind of missing the sleep, but, you know, they're still excited halfway, kind of like, oh, I want to stay in bed, but the other half ready to get back to school, see my friends, and learn new things. That's all I have.
So, item 9, Assistant Superintendent for Learning Innovation, Dr. Clayton.
Good evening, board. We have had, I'll echo everybody who's talked already, a very busy week. I will just expand on our Institute Days 1 and 2. It was tough to follow Ms. Lombard and the big rally in the gymnasium, but our teachers spent time in their buildings and building meetings with principals and kind of getting the rundown of what the systems are and what's new maybe for this year. Time in their classrooms to get ready for those open houses that our students just mentioned. And also we had time to attend some professional development around executive functioning. Our Learning and Innovation team, I do have to give a shout out to our team, right, Dr. Gill? They have been fielding questions about, I'm missing 2 workbooks all the way till, what am I teaching in math today? So this week. So they have just been amazing and holding down the fort and getting out to all the schools as well to help with arrivals and dismissals, and making sure that teachers and students and families have what they need. So that was Institute Days 1 and 2. I also have on here for your information our MPAC and BPAC dates and locations. This is a group that is run or will be run with our new director, Ms. Rodrigo, this year, and she is hoping to start out at the district office with the first meeting and then possibly getting into the schools with families and doing some activities in the schools, mainly on the Reed Road campus for dual language, and really trying to get those 2 groups addressing like some of their individual needs during their times, and then also if there are presentations that matter to both of those groups that we can give on the same night. So we're excited to start those family groups up. They're awesome attendance and participation. And I think that's it. Any questions? Thank you.
I got one, if you could just enlighten me.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere we're starting a little AI with Gemini program or something.
Yes. In the staff, I think in our staff and family newsletter, we added that at just the high school, we are going to open up our Gemini to students, and we are providing our teachers and our families some support on what does that mean, that this AI will not be using any of the information that feeds or informs AI, because it's kind of on our closed circuit here, and how to be responsible with it, how to start with the student ideas, maybe use it as a resource or reference, and then come back to the students. So that has been a recent change in communication.
I think that's a great addition.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thanks for that. Next item on the agenda here, Assistant Superintendent for Special Services, Dr. Gill.
Hi, just a brief update. We always talk about our Special Education Advisory Committee, and it's a committee that really is served for families to come together to collaborate, learn, talk about special education specific. And this year we will meet in October and in February. That's a change for us from 4 meetings to 2 meetings. And the rationale for that was we had very low attendance very early in the school year. Our highest attendance was in February, and we wanted to just make sure that we're providing information and an opportunity, but also, making sure we're intentional about the time we bring everyone together. So we are available in a million different ways, and I think this is a great way for us to continue to be available and have a platform for families to come together. And if we see the need to increase that, we certainly will, but these are the meeting dates for this year. Any questions?
Did you have something? You have a question? I couldn't tell.
It actually might be off topic, so I apologize, because it's tied to meeting dates. Do we have the schedule for the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee? Questions?
Yeah, those are when we adopted the board meeting nights, they're on that. So those 3 dates are on there, and they won't conflict with these.
Okay,
They're posted on the website.
great.
Perfect. Yeah.
I have a question and just maybe kind of a little comment as well, and I think I've shared this, even with you, Ms. Lombard. I'm a little bit disappointed to see us going down to 2 meetings a year, and I understand, the attendance component, also with it being virtual, and I understand that's more convenient, for people, but when I think of when SEAC first started, back in, I think it was 2019, it was a working committee. There were so many people that came and were participating, and I compare it a lot to when we did our, 2030 plan, and just a lot of input and working together, and the committee kind of evolved into more of an information session, or like a preview to what would be shared at the next board meeting. And is there a way we could bring it back to more of working, maybe some activities, as opposed to just presenting, hey, we've done this, or this is what we're looking at? How do we get families involved into participating and collaborating with the district, as opposed to just logging on to a Google Meet to get the updated information?
I'm certainly always willing to collaborate with our families. I am open to every idea. We've invited families in every way that we know. I think sometimes when families of students with disabilities in particular are already so taxed with the things going on, I think asking them to do more is sometimes challenging. That may be one reason why, families aren't as maybe able to participate. We've talked about for families feeling that their needs have been met, that their questions are answered, they feel like they have access to building administrators, district administrators. We make ourselves highly available to problem solve and to get feedback. We are asking parents for feedback. This year, one new thing that we're doing is asking parent feedback after every IEP meeting, to elicit feedback on what their experience was, what we could do better, how we can engage. So I think we're always looking at a variety of ways to get feedback, so we make sure we're answering the needs for our families. I know when I started in the district, there were a lot of people. We came together to create the vision for SEAC. We identified our priority areas. Those continue to be priority areas that inform our work, so none of that has gone away or has been lost. But, I also think I want to make sure we're being responsive to the information we have. So I don't want it to sound like we're just not putting effort into getting families to engage. I think we're looking for alternate ways to make sure our families are engaged, and making sure that I'm involved in the spaces that where special education can have a voice in some other ways. So when I think about PTAC, what can my involvement be so that there is a voice at PTAC? And instead of siloing or keeping those places separate, how are we part of the whole, and then also providing a platform for families? So I want to be, extremely clear that we are always working on a variety of ways. We've adapted and changed things, each year that I've been here. But I'm always open to ideas, Melissa. So if you've got some, I'm happy to hear them, whatever you got.
I think one of the things too, when Dr. Gill and I were talking about some of the components, that there is a variety of different things that we may ask parents to come, or community members around. And so there has been some projects for a variety of our different committees in the past. And we want to make sure that those are intentional projects. And so one of the things that they are implementing this year is going back to something we did many, many years ago, but intentionally asking some very specific questions of our families, just a few, so they're not, overwhelmed after each IEP meeting. That data can help the special education administration to review, to see, are there needs? Is there a project? Is there something that we could bring people together around? But just to bring them around, to bring them to some of the meetings, I think there was that feeling of it was more information because there was some great work around the light program. So what is that next thing? I think that we have to get feedback from our families to find that. Also through, our family liaison, a lot of opportunities for that work in collaboration with Ina Hall. She implemented a new special education group last year too.
Yeah,
So
that
I
was
think
the other thing that I wanted to highlight is that, you know, we're trying to put our efforts very specifically to the more targeted, needs of our families of students with disabilities. We started our parent support group, which obviously I'm actively involved in, but also is open to every family member of a student with an IEP. Everyone is invited to that. Our learning series, our wellness, health and wellness fair that we talked about last year, which, you know, we are responding to what our families are telling us they need. And I think targeting the time in those spaces makes sense. So I hope that it's not feeling like a loss, but rather an allocation of the resource in the right way for our families.
And with all due respect to, I really appreciate it, I want to give credit to the events that we've had for the parent support group, our health and wellness fair, even our special nights for specific topics. I think those are great. I was just hoping that there was a way to get the word out there, to get people engaged again. So that was just, it's, I guess it's a wish list thing, right?
And I appreciate Mrs. Majorino's question, because you're asking the right question. I do appreciate this approach that Dr. Gill is talking about. Because when we talk about special education, if we look at even our data, majority of special education are students who are in regular classrooms. That's the majority of special education. And then we have students who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have students who have emotional behavioral challenges. And to lump everybody into one large group and say, this applies to everybody, I can see the challenge versus what you're doing is individualizing based on need. And if there's a project that's tied to light, that makes sense because someone who is not involved with light but has a student who has an IEP but it's not in light, they're going to probably think wait, why am I here at this meeting because my student's not in light? So I think the individualized approach seems the right way. And what I'm gathering from you is these two, call them umbrella meetings, are like high-level updates of what's happening in the district as it relates to special education. Is that correct, Dr. Gill?
Yes, and, and I just, one other thing that I think, I haven't highlighted this enough either, one of the, a large focus of the work we've had over the last couple of years is our program development. And because of that, our teachers have more information, they have more curriculum, what they're able to provide students and families, I think has been better than it's ever been before. So I think that in terms of like where families go when they have questions or concerns, they're very often going to the teachers and the case managers. And I think that those staff feel more equipped to respond and provide the support that our families are asking for. But as far as I know, there isn't a concern that has ever been brought forward that we haven't come to the table to try to collaborate around with a family. And I think that's the way we do things here in Huntley, and so I'm really proud of that. And at the same time, yeah, we have to allocate the resource to the place so that we can meet everybody's needs, but also individually target for families.
And I don't disagree that the special education department does work with families on their individual needs and try to collaborate and just all get on the same page for the best needs of the student. I just want to make sure we capture those opportunities where a family may not know that, hey, some other families are struggling and but if that can be incorporated in there, and if something then, a project comes out of one of these meetings, like, hey, we found a common theme here, either with the questionnaires at the end of the IEP meetings, if you're seeing a common theme, or something at one of these meetings that maybe a special project, like you said, could spin off from that and have that meeting and bring those parents in to work together and collaborate. I think that's a great approach.
Yes, we'll plan on taking the feedback from our IEP survey and being responsive to that as well. And we always invite families. Actually, one thing that Ina did really well was, text families, ahead of time so that there's reminders, we're inviting people lots and lots of times. And I'm just also respectful of the time and energy families are already giving us, and, but I won't stop inviting them, and I will always be responsive to the feedback. I appreciate that.
Great, and it's great. That's why this discussion helps clarify things and brings things to light, and I think it's great. Thank you.
There's nothing else. Move on to item 11, financial officer charges. Mr. Altmeyer, good evening.
Thank you very much. A few different updates. Our audit started this week, so on top of the kids coming back to school, on Tuesday, the auditors started their field work, so they'll be doing that this week as well as the beginning of next week. So I want to let the board know that is happening and all is going well so far, so stay tuned on that. But I did want to present the fifth draft, or talk about it briefly, of the FY27 budget, the display draft. And the display draft, for those board members that are new, is a requirement that we put on display 30 days in advance of the budget hearing, the current draft of the budget. So we call that the display draft. So there have been some adjustments to the display draft, primarily 2 or 3 different adjustments. So I do want to talk about that. The good news is that the current draft continues to reflect an operating surplus, so a balanced budget, with currently approximately $702,000 operating surplus. That being said, if you have had a chance to look at this display draft and look at the adjustments that we made within this draft, we made some pretty significant adjustments. The very first one I want to talk about is, well, we finally received information from the state of Illinois that the evidence-based funding model has been finalized. And not good news on that front, because our annual funding last year of $305,000 went down to approximately $230,000, a $75,000 cut in our annual funding. We continue to remain at Tier 2 funding at 82.6% adequacy level. Last year, we were at 82.7, so 0.1%, actually lower. The range, if you were to wonder what the range for Tier 2 districts are, the range for Tier 2 districts start at 71.98%, right, and we're at 82.7, and go all the way up to 89.9%. So we're really kind of right in the middle of the range. We would have to have quite a bit happen to fall back into a Tier 1 status. So having our funding go down $75,000 a year and projecting that out for the next 5 years, well, that's a lot more money. So certainly last year we lost about $900,000 in annual funding. Well, we just lost another $75,000 per year on top of that. So not really good for the overall health of the 5-year plan. The other large adjustment we did make is for health insurance. Okay, we ended the year for FY26 a little north of $19 million. So what we were able to do is we're trending out the remainder of this year based on that $19 million, that on a monthly basis, what we averaged on a monthly basis. And knowing that we are moving forward with NIHIP, using the NIHIP last estimated premium that they provided us, we were able to come up with a fairly solid estimate of what we think health insurance expense would be for FY27, and that is a little north of $20 million, but $20 million is the number, and that represents a $1.75 million increase to the overall budget that we previously had. So if you look at that number, $20 million, if we were to compare that to where we ended the current year, FY26 at 19.06, well, that's only a 4.8% increase. And that 4.8% increase is really reflective. That's the lowest increase we've had in a long, long time. That represents, part of that benefit is obviously what we're doing with NIHIP, moving forward with NIHIP, and hopefully the savings that we will achieve as a result of that. The other adjustments we made were in the various title grants as well as the IDEA grant, adjusting revenues and expenses accordingly. So that's really a cost neutral type of adjustment. But quite a few adjustments we made along the way within the title grants as well as the IDEA grant, resulting to where we currently are with a $702,000 surplus. That being said, with 30 days left, we still have several adjustments to make, primarily surrounding the categorical grants. We just wrapped up and finished filing the transportation reimbursement grant, and so we do have that number. But I do want to feel very comfortable with the state's proration level. And once we have that number, I'll be able to more accurately estimate what the transportation reimbursement will be, as well as the private facility reimbursement. So those are amounts that we will still adjust moving forward. And after this draft of the budget was finalized, we also received notice that CPPRT, there is an estimate now for CPPRT. That's actually really good news. Will help us only a little bit, and I'll explain. CPPRT is corporate personal property replacement taxes, and it has really been variable, very variable over the years. And if I go back to FY22, the district received $1.5 million, FY23, $1.6 million, FY24, it dipped down because, well, there was a calculation error the 2 previous years, and we received $961,000. That then dipped down to $645,000, but based on the estimates last year, we budgeted for FY26, $800,000, but the actual looks like it only came in at $681, so it came in less than the estimate. The estimate for this year, they're estimating a 21% increase over that prior year amount of $681 to that of $830,000. So that'll approximately be a $30,000 uptick in the current budget that you're currently looking at, because the budget for CPPRT continues to remain flat with what we had budgeted for FY26. But it is a positive adjustment nevertheless. So those are adjustments still coming down the pipeline that we'll make in the next several weeks. I will provide another update at the September COW, and then at the September board meeting, that's when we will have our budget hearing, for which we'll do a presentation and dig a little deeper, as I have in some of the previous drafts. But this draft is really just 2 or 3 really material adjustments. I wanted to make the board aware of those, and also aware of what has happened from an evidence-based funding standpoint. If you were wondering why our funding went down, well, it primarily went down because, well, there's another very large district that moved into Tier 1. And so CPS, if you recall from prior year, took a really big chunk of the pie with a really large increase in evidence-based funding dollars last year, as well as Rockford. Well, all along, U46 was in Tier 2, but U46 has now moved up to Tier 1. And they probably had the largest percentage increase out of any school district. And by them moving into Tier 1, pretty much the majority of every single Tier 2 district took kind of a hit with the dollars that they are seeing, because all 3 of those very large districts are now in Tier 1. So a little unfortunate for us, for sure. Very fortunate for U46. So, but I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Can you touch on the categorical funding, the decrease? You mentioned it, but that looks to be $543,000.
For what is that again?
That's that categorical funding for the state revenues?
Categorical funding for the state revenues?
Yeah.
Well, we've yet to finalize the transportation and the private facility, and those are our 2 main, well, those are our categoricals. So those numbers will be adjusted in the coming weeks.
Is Skyward fully implemented now?
Yeah, Skyward's fully implemented. We're still working through year end with the new system, 4 months in. But yes, it's fully implemented. I know on the HR side, HR has an update on what we are doing with time and labor tracking. So that's kind of just being rolled out now. But from a fiscal standpoint and from a payroll standpoint, the system is up and running, yes.
We have an in-house matrix of, I think it's 25% of funds on hand, maximum or something like that. Is there any?
Oh, yeah, we have you mean a fund balance reserve policy?
Right.
Yes.
Is there any consideration of increasing that because of timing of these things?
Well, certainly, as the board wishes, over the next several months, we can certainly bring that to the board, and we could talk through what our current policy is and, where the board would like to see that policy. The 25% came from a state guidance policy. Many districts have fund balance policies, in excess of 25% for sure.
Currently at?
We're currently at about 29%.
Of note that I know we've talked about this in previous board meetings, but I think it's worthy of bringing up this again, is when we look at this budget for FY '27, budgeted surplus, a little over $700,000. Looking at the future years projections, it gets increasingly scarier. Looking at FY '28, I know this is based on assumptions from a deficit of 2.8 million, all the way up to FY 2031 with over 10 million deficit. So I think just to highlight, although it might look good today, it sounds like the conversation we've had about having to make difficult decisions in the future is still real.
Yes. And we'll highlight that when we pass the budget in September. Generally, I don't like to do that at every meeting. I like to somehow stay on the positive. Knowing that the out years do reflect various assumptions, right? CPI at 2% and a lot of different assumptions, new construction and things of that nature. And things over time can certainly change. But even if they change a little bit, we will still have a lot of work ahead of us, and that is for sure. But yes, we will continue to have that discussion. Thank you, Mr. Vice.
Anybody else? All right, thank you for that, Mr. Altmeyer. Moving ahead, item 12, Assistant Superintendent Associates, pardon me. I want to make sure I get the right word in there. Associate Superintendent for Human Resources, Dr. Zier.
Good evening. Yes, a few updates, as Mr. Altmeyer alluded to. The Skyward implementation has shifted to Human Resources since we have our group back, specifically our folks who clock in and clock out. So that is their first experience with that this week. So we've been helping many individuals across transportation, across the building, who are hourly employees, to make sure they know how to operate that, whether it's on their app or on a Chromebook or on a computer. So far, so good. Still a learning curve because we work with apps they've been using the same system for almost 20 years. So change, not everyone a fan of sometimes, but it's going to take some time to get used to. But a lot more user friendly once you get used to it, and a little more efficient. So we'll work through that. We know there will be some bumps in the road as we go through, but also how they request their time off too. So that is new to them. But so far, so good. We're working out kinks as they come across. Also in HR, for the July as we go into August here, wrapping up the recruiting. Happy to report, other than a couple of school site positions, but if you talk to any district, they're going to tell you they're short school site. We ended up being fully staffed for the first time. Probably the last time certified-wise, we were fully staffed. We're usually about 3 or 4 teachers short when it comes time to start school, and have to pivot and get creative and make things work out. But luckily, to start the school year in real good shape in that aspect. So I'm very proud of the principals out there who are the hiring managers and run through those processes, and then my team to work with folks, especially new graduates, to make sure they're getting their license up with ISB. If you don't have a job offer, ISB slows that process down for you. So my office communicates with the regional office and ISB to help people's license get up and going, so they're good to go on day one. And so we will be getting ready here in the next couple of weeks for the September 10th payroll. Very important to us because that is where you see a majority of the salaries of the district shift. So teachers taking step on the salary schedule, receiving a % increase. So September 10th payroll, very, very important, and also will be the first payroll that we're experiencing all of the folks back and using the new clock in and clock out Skyward. So we will work through that. And also, it's insurance season. As you know, we're working with NIHIP right now. So we'll be having an insurance committee meeting coming up here in September, where NIHIP is going to be bringing back some different ideas for us as we transition into that co-op over the next couple of years, essentially. and we'll be transitioning away from our current plan into the NICA plan by the time we get to 2028. So there will be a lot more insurance committee meetings than what there are usually, but we're keeping a good pulse on that. A lot of things to tie together as we come from an organization essentially that was doing it on our own, going out, whether it's contracting with the folks who do the online open enrollment to, shifting over to how NICA does things as it go up. So just got to make sure that's all put together, and we'll be using a different platform to open enroll for the first time in, I think, 7 years. So that'll be different for our employees as we roll out here and over that. Those are our highlights right now down in HR.
Any questions? Any questions from the board?
I just had a quick one, just to clarify, I may have been like writing a note or something. The clock in, clock out, that's for the hourly, or is that for all?
It's just for the hourly employees. So paraprofessionals, so they got to do the clock in and clock out. Our teachers don't clock in and clock out, but what will be due to them, so like if they work the football game tomorrow night, in the past, that has been a manual type of thing where they just email their hours, but they will be able to punch in their start and end time. That's something we're really going to have to keep a pulse on, because that is brand new. Whether you're a teacher or whether you're a paraprofessional, working extra duty, that's something that we're putting in the hands of them to recognize when they come and go. But then we have backup too, to make sure that's in the right spot.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, good question.
I don't see any other questions. Thank you very much for that. Director of Communications, Public Engagement, Ms. Barr.
Thank you. So I did submit a communications dashboard, as I do monthly, just so you know, it's our way of tracking our engagement really across the different platforms. So, does anyone have any questions on that? The other thing I put in your update is my monthly FOIA report. So we fulfilled 5 FOIAs this past month. And just to remind everyone that those are on our website, so you can go to our FOIA page if you want to see those, what came in, what went out. Kind of ranged, they always do. No commercial requests this time. Any questions on that? Okay.
Thanks for taking care of those.
Thank you.
I did have a question, my apologies for not bringing this up before, is that I know I've gotten some feedback from families about Power School and the registration process, and there was some hiccups, like who should they reach out to if they run into those challenges?
So that would be something that would be of interest to our registration department, for sure, but you can let me know those things, or Ms. Lombard, or, so that we're aware. I mean,
Right, if there are registration process components, they can reach out to the registration department. If there are challenges that maybe they've seen or suggestions on that, Mr. Primus does oversee the registration department. After that, it would be Mr. Altmeyer and then myself.
Thank you.
I had a question for, I don't know, it's probably more of a finance question, but I'm going to ask because it's a blend of finance and communications. So has there been a change in school fees collected after the increases and the change with the late fee or deadline or whatever we're calling that? And is there a plan for subsequent communications for families who have not yet paid their fees, and what does that look like? Is there a plan for that? So first off, has there been a change in the amount of fees that we've collected?
Let me answer that, and I'll have to get back to the board with that question because I haven't quantified that.
Okay.
Going through the audit, preparing for year end, everything else we have going on. But I can certainly gather that information. Normally, I would look at that information usually in the middle, end of September, right as about the time that we kind of push the button, pause the button to say, okay, you're no longer eligible for that early pay discount or now the late fee, so to speak. But I can certainly pull that information and compare it to prior years' receipts. And then your second question was regarding communication. And so typically what we do is, we continue to send out information, emails, monthly statements for registration fees specifically, but registrations are kind of going away, or statements, excuse me, for registration are going away because we're using email communication now that we have the tool that we have via PowerSchool. But once we know the information as to where we stand from a registration collection standpoint, we'll be able to take those next steps so that we can address that if we need to. But the overall plan has always been to send out monthly communication emails to the families so that they're well aware of the amount of money they owe and where to go to pay that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Item 14, President's Report, Board Discussion. We do have board training coming up next week. That's been posted Tuesday on the 25th. Also, there's an IASB regional meeting that's being held. The topic for the title of the topic is Leading for Tomorrow's Schools Today. That will be October 22nd at the DeKalb School District. Presenter is Dr. Lovefeld. Good things about it, but I don't know the specifics of the presentation. So be on the lookout in your email for that registration information, then let Sharon know about that so she can get us for those that can attend. Anything else to add? I know there was a discussion last month that I'm presuming we'll get that into account upcoming student testing conversation.
Yes, the random.
Yeah.
We want to get the year going. We've had some preliminary conversations with the athletic department and administration, and Dr. Zara and I will be, now the year is going, we'll be pulling all of that together and coming back as a report presentation.
Okay, thank you for that. That was one that I had on here for, new business, looking at
Yep.
just reviewing our policy for the drug testing. I had another one, but
Anything else topically to add to the new business, future business
Hmm.
discussions?
Future business, and Ms. Lombard and I, we kind of spoke very, very briefly, about, when we were talking about, can we have somebody do a little research into, our companies that house data on our students, IEPs, testing records, things like that, to see, you know, we may have ABC company that's housing, IEP information. And then who might, and they're FERPA compliant, but who might own that company that might not be?
Dr. Gill, I think she's talking more than just IEPs, that's an example.
Yeah, no, that was just, I'm
The
sorry.
student data on.
Student data, yeah.
And so I do know that we've got, components that are in here that we have to post, with, I'm gonna say it wrong, but right, there's FERPA, there's SOFA, there's all of the components that we need to do, but you're talking about if they're owned by another company. So that is something that we can look into, and I'll work with, Mr. Primus and, everybody so that we can come back with something.
Yeah, that would be great, because that's where we have to worry about information, like, if the first level companies, they're compliant, but if they're owned by somebody else that isn't.
Sure.
What access do they have, and what might they do? So
Yeah.
if we could.
So, yeah.
And again, that's a future, that's
Yep.
why.
I didn't want to worry any one department, that was your example, it was
Sorry,
in general.
yeah. All right, and that was it for me, thank you.
Anybody else have anything? That's the future board discussion. All right, moving on. There's a set of minutes there prepared for the future approval. That's item 14.2 on the agenda. Item 15, consent agenda. Anything to remove from consent before we vote on it? Right, not hearing anything, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Second from Mr. Feckey. A roll call vote, please.
Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Item 16.1, HR personnel. Dr. Zier, anything to add to this one?
Nothing to add.
All right, with that, I move to approve the HR personnel report as it's presented.
Second.
Second by
Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
No.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Peggotty?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Item 16.2, supplemental purchase orders and accounts payable. Mr. Altmeyer, anything to add to this one?
Nothing to add.
All right, thank you, sir. I have a roll, that I move to approve the supplemental purchase orders and accounts payable report as presented.
Second.
Second from Mr. Craddy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Peggotty?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16.3, the Little City accounts payable report. Mr. Altmeyer, any color to add to this one?
Nothing to add.
Sir. With that, I move to approve the Little Cities purchase orders payable report as presented.
Second.
Second from Mr. Ruth. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Peggotty?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Abstain due to conflict.
Okay, motion passes 6-0 with one abstention. Item 16.4, 25-26 strategic planning measures end of the year percentage. Ms. Lombard, any color to add to this?
Very briefly, as you recall, we presented the end of the year KPI progress report at the June 18th meeting as part of the strategic plan performance sections of HESPA administrative and at-will, HESPA and administrative contracts, and then for our at-will employees as well. They identify a component of a performance pay, and it's a big formula. We just need to go ahead and have the approval of the 86% of our KPIs met last year approved, so that Dr. Zayer can finalize the components that do need to go into that, because per the contracts, they would be paid out at the first paycheck in September. Any questions?
Okay, not hearing any questions, I move to approve the 25-26 strategic planning measures end of the year percentage at 80% goal completion as presented in the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Peggotty. Sorry. Mr. Peggotty with the second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Craddy?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Peggotty?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. Item 16.5, related service substitute rates. Dr. Zayer, anything to colorize on this one?
Yeah, this is something we haven't brought in quite a while, but as we were looking at a couple of positions across the district where we may need in the future to cover like maternity leaves and things like that, if we're not fully staffed, we needed to make some adjustments. The three categories here. You can see the current rate of what we pay per day for school counselor, social worker, and SLP. And a proposed new rate for all three of those positions also. What's unique about this, we're using the salary schedule to create this number. And so M12-1, M12-1, and M45-1, that's essentially where these positions would come in. And when you look at that daily rate, if we were to pivot and contract this, it's about $600 to $700 a day. For SLPs and social workers, school counselors, we usually don't lean on. This would be an extreme case where we would do something like this. But in that SLP and social work world, it would almost be double if we were to go contract that. So we are currently looking at a long-term leave where we have someone who's a former employee who would like to come in and do SLP work for to cover a leave. So we're working through that right now, but we wanted to just get this updated and kind of track that salary schedule as we move forward. Once again, way under contracting to the outside of those companies, and possibly helps us get someone who may be retired, wanting to come back and help out a little bit, or decided to stay home. All sorts of business. Looking for approval.
very much. Any questions from the board? With that, I move to approve proposed related service substitute rates as presented.
Second?
Second by Mr. Bobby. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Corradi?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Any public comment to close out the evening?
No.
Very good. Item 18, adjournment. I move to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:26 p.m.
Second.
Second by Mr. Feckety. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry 7-0. We are adjourned. Thank you. Good night and good luck. No